Hey, what's up, Capricorn? Welcome back to another one of my timeless general tarot readings. It's been a while since I've done a video, a few weeks in fact, but I'm still happy to be getting kind of back into the saddle on this whole thing and doing some tarot reads for you. So, the spread I'm going to be using is the 139, similar to how I was doing it a few weeks ago. And to start that off, we're going to be using the anime tarot deck to gather the core energy for the reading. So without further ado, allow me to do a couple shuffles here and see what Spirit has for you. If you have not done so already, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. If you are particularly inclined, feel free to send some donations my way on PayPal. That would help me out quite a bit right now. Alright, Capricorn, what exactly does Spirit have in store for you this evening? Anything in particular? And right off the bat, we have two cards actually flipping out here. So, Five of Swords, Ten of Pentacles. It flipped out a little on the side, so I'm actually going to take them both as a core energy sideways. It wasn't my plan. The plan was to do one core energy for you, but voila, you got two core energies. Definitely a very, very, I guess, it's very tumultuous energy. Not very assured energy. You are definitely dealing with some conflicts, and maybe the confliction is going your way, but maybe it also is not. So, you know, maybe it's sort of tit for tat here. Ten of Pentacles, mixed energy once again. That is another sign of why the confliction might be going both ways, because perhaps you are reveling in your success, but then there's failures that are striking at the same time, and it's kind of destabilizing your material stability, which is not where a Capricorn wants to be. But very interesting balance here for you right off the bat. So now we're going to use the standard tarot deck, and let's see what I can gather for supporting energies. Definitely a weird time of, I'm not sure exactly why this would be, but there's times where you are righteous in taking your stand, because when you do and it's successful, of course it leads to your instability, but there's a hidden message here where you, at the same time, maybe doing the exact same thing, you are not succeeding as much as you might wish, and that could be affecting your material abundance. Let's see. Support energy right off the top, we've got Five of Swords again. So yeah, I don't know what's going on here, but you are at a very conflictious time, perhaps. I don't know what it could all be about, but Five of Swords, you're lucky that it's in the upright here, because that does speak to you having a sort of righteous, your stand is sort of righteous. And I'm, once again, not sure exactly what it is, but double confirmation here, Five of Swords. And it's definitely a time of growth for you. It is definitely a time of figuring out who's on your side and who isn't. It's definitely a time of separating the wheat from the chaff, so to speak. A time of removing the dross from your experience. Figuring out which people are willing to follow you, which people are not. And with Five of Swords in the upright, you have the option to see that as a defeat, because you've lost these people, but you also have a chance to see it as a victory, because you know who's not strong enough to follow you along. So double confirmation here that you are definitely not just taking things as they've always been, that you are definitely looking to, you're not looking to be held back by others who are not strong enough to follow your vision. So definitely a very interesting card of growth. Definitely a very interesting card of things changing in your experience. And the price to pay for that typically is that there are people that you leave behind. There are people that leave your experience because they can't take the journey forward with you anymore. It's more or less what this is insinuating. And I like to read Five of Swords upright, as that means that you are standing on the high ground. You can see the vision clearly, and you know what you need to do to move forward. Now that is mixed with cross Five of Swords. So as it comes to overall energy, there is a mix. But the initial support is that your righteous energy. So I'm curious to see what your support cards are, because you've got this mixed energy here. So let's move on and let's find another clarifier for this particular part of the reading. It is interesting speculating here what this could be about, because you don't want to disrupt your Ten of Pentacles, but the leaving people behind in Five of Swords, depending on who they are, if they were people who helped you out along the way, you know, that could disrupt your stability to a certain extent. It's not full-blown Ten of Pentacles in the reverse, but it's not Ten of Pentacles upright either. So, very interesting, for sure. Always fun when the clarifier card matches the core energy. So let us see, what can we gather for the next clarifier. So this one's to come. Let's see what we got here. Six of Pentacles in reverse. This is more what happens when you leave these people behind. These people, maybe they were supporting you somehow, some way. But now at this point, you are finding that their help is no longer your benefit. They're not actually, you're not managing to retain their graciousness, and if you're cutting them out like this Five of Swords energy, that is what could lead to them not wanting to give as much. So I don't know what you're rocking the boat about here. I don't know what you're standing your ground on. One of the consequences here appears to be, though, that there is some potential for financial destabilization. And that is apparently in the form of not being able to manifest material support to the same degree. So make sure that whatever you're standing your ground on here, this Five of Swords, whomever you're cutting out of your experience, understand what they're going to be taking with them. And in this instance, it does appear to be some kind of material support. So it goes along with the energy, but it is disappointing. It is disappointing that you have to, you know, by standing your ground, you have to lose something. But usually when that happens, it's because there were strings attached to this graciousness. So once you finally decided to do something better for you, the true colors came out of who these people are, and they've decided to not be as gracious. So it's disappointing, but it might be important for you to grow out of the situation. But this might be the price you have to pay. You know, the natural cause and effect is that these people aren't going to give anymore. So that's disappointing to see. It's not where you want to be. You're probably taking these routes. You're probably standing up. You're probably standing your ground on these issues to do better in life. But in the short term, it looks like there's a good shot that, you know, as the board's been joggled up here, there will be some price to pay, materially speaking. So let's see what this is. So another clarifier, Four of Swords. Let me make sure that's on camera. Okay, good. So, yeah, an interesting card that you are going to, it is a good sign that you're going to learn from whatever this loss is. So even though materially you're showing up at a loss here, this is showing that you actually have the conscience to take a step back and review why this happened and strategize for the future. And it's a good sign that you're not going to get super angry at these people. It's a good sign that you're not going to necessarily get really bent out of shape. It's more just sort of, it is a good sign that you're going to kind of accept the inevitability of losing this material stability, and that you're going to be able to absorb this destabilization in your material abundance. So that is good to see, and it's a great sign that you actually will be able to it's a good sign that you're not going to be getting emotional about this. You're going to be able to sort of embrace a certain rationality for why this is happening, which is very good because that's what you have to do to start rebuilding your momentum to move forward. And that's what you're going to need if you're insistent on taking this Five of Swords journey. So, very interesting. All right, so let's move on to secondary clarifiers for each of the supporting cards. Let's start with Five of Swords. Oh, and look at that. So right off the bat, we got Ten of Cups, Seven of Cups. Very, very interesting. So I'm not sure exactly why you are moving forward with this particular path. I'm not sure why you're choosing to cut this stuff out. I'm not sure why you're choosing to be critical in this fashion and move on. But there's a very good sign here that it's going to... Almost sort of what's coming to mind is it might be sacrificing some career success for family, for your family life. So even though you're losing, even though you're kind of destabilizing your material situation, you aren't necessarily losing any happiness. You're actually reinforcing it by going down this route, which is very interesting. So even though there's a little bit of confliction here with the Five of Swords sideways, but then a ton of stability with the Five of Swords in the upright, whatever path forward you see is actually very good, and it's very happy. And it's very happy for your family stability, your personal life happiness, your personal life stability. And for whatever reason, it is looking as if it's going to open up some new options for you. You're going to be able to... It's almost striking me as if perhaps you felt a little stagnant in whatever this is. And that's exactly where the Five of Swords is going. It's about shaking up your life to grow into something different, to find something different. Yes, there might be change, and yes, you might lose people along the way. But there's a good shot that these people are trying to hold you in a certain place. And there's a good shot that they're holding you in that place through material gifts, and that those material gifts are keeping you in a stagnant position. And that's not good enough for you, it looks like. Because when you choose to forge your own path, when you choose to sort of stand up for your own path and move forward in your own volition, yes, there's a little bit of destabilization, and yes, there are some people who you might lose, and there is some material stability that you might lose for this. But in the long run, it's looking as if you're going to learn from this properly, rationally, that you're going to stabilize yourself moving forward, that you're not going to dwell on this loss, which is a good sign that you understand why you're taking this path forward. And the reason you're taking this path forward is because you can see something way better for yourself, way more abundance, way more personal happiness, way more interpersonal happiness on a personal level. And that happiness, tied in with the fact that you've broken out of this stagnation that these people have trapped you in, is going to open up your options. And you're going to have more variety to choose from. And that's very good. That's exactly why you do the Five of Swords. You take this Five of Swords path, you choose to leave these people behind because they actually are stagnating you. They're holding you back. And still, make sure that when you do that, that you are make sure that it is righteous, because there's a little bit of a warning here with the sideways Five of Swords that it's like at this point you're at 3/4 righteousness. There is a little bit of underpinning where maybe you're not always seeing the better path forward, but most of the time, like it's showing up here about 75% of the time ish, you're seeing something better for yourself. And this is showing that you're going to be able to absorb the speed bumps of taking this new path quite well. And it's boding quite well for you in terms of personal happiness. So, very interesting. Definitely very interesting. Very, very solid for my first reading back. Solid correlations, and I love seeing the Five of Swords like this because a lot of other readers see the Five of Swords upright as a loss. And I don't really see it as a loss. It's only a loss if losing the people is more important than you finding a better existence and finding a better experience. So it really depends. But in this particular context, you understand there's a split. Ace of Swords, Ace of Wands is very good. You seem to understand why you're doing this. So that's very good to see. So I'm going to take a look here at timer. This is already at 15 minutes. You'd be surprised how often I feel like it just drones on and on. So let's see if I can get a final clarifier for this. Okay, so here's one. All right, so to finish off this top row, we've got King of Cups even. Wow. So very interesting. Usually you don't see a lot of wind to water, mental to emotional, but sort of what you're doing is you're choosing this you're calculating this judgment here in order to feel better. And I can't explain this as any way else except for that you've got the right idea here. Whatever this change is that you're making, on a personal level, it is going to empower you to much happier feelings. Much happier feelings. And even seeing this energy, there's a good shot that you can even rectify this Ten of Pentacles into the upright. So perhaps what's got you... So it's kind of what's coming to mind then is that this is work related. Your personal life is getting swamped by some career decisions, or somebody else, whomever is perhaps giving you these gifts, whomever is providing you this material stability, they're interfering with your personal life. And you see a much happier version of that personal life. And by moving on from this, by leaving that behind, you are going to be able to rectify that. So it's a great sign here that you're actually going to be able to rectify this Ten of Pentacles into its righteous energy of upright, which is very great. And it's going to open up a lot more variety in your life, and it's even going to empower you in ways where people will believe in your emotionality. They will understand that you're coming from your heart and that you are willing to find your own happiness. And not just find it, but excel in having it. And when somebody can achieve this King of Cups energy, that begins to naturally overflow onto other people. So it's a great sign here that it's a great sign for the happiness you're going to achieve from moving on from this. So very good to see. Very good to see. So let's see what you've got here for this Six of Pentacles reversed, which is not cool. Off the top of my head, it is striking me as, you know, the price to pay for taking this route. Whomever these people are that you're leaving behind, they had the idea that you were going to... They had a certain idea about what you were going to be for them. And the second that stopped is when their gifts stopped. So they were showing you conditional support. Or they are showing you conditional support. And when you finally cut them out, you see just how conditional it was. But that conditionality, the fact that they would be that conditional and expectatious of you, is why they are completely inconsiderate about how they are destabilizing your personal material experience. And it might even be why you can't seem to sort of justify your well-being, is because they've got you kind of twisted up in this. So I'm curious to see what kind of clarifiers we can get for this, because it's the only real downward part of this reading, but it could be for a good cause. For a good cause. Okay, so first clarifier, Page of Wands. Very interesting. Page of Wands. This energy is not afraid to express itself. It's kind of it's kind of flip-flopped on Capricorn energy, natural earth energy. So it might not be natural for you, but part of what could bother these people into not being as gracious is this Page of Wands energy, because the Page of Wands is not afraid to express how they feel. Page of Wands energy, actually, fire is amplified by the air energy of Five of Swords. So kind of what I'm seeing here is the Page of Wands energy is somebody the energy is not afraid to express itself. It is not afraid to express how it really feels. If you aren't embracing this Page of Wands energy properly, that could mix you up to this sort of sideways Five of Swords. And this sideways, not five ways, sideways Ten of Pentacles. And when you can't express yourself properly like that, that can lead to these people who have you kind of tied up, thinking that everything's okay. So one way to clear yourself out of this mixed energy here, one way to really embrace jumping into this Five of Swords energy, is some Page of Wands fire. Because that Page of Wands is going to spit it. They're going to spit it exactly how they feel like it. They aren't afraid to express exactly what they're feeling. They're not afraid to express negativity if that's how their heart feels. They're not just bottling up their negativity to try and be purely optimistic. So if you think that you need to be purely optimistic to keep these gifts coming, you're probably correct. And you're probably correct in understanding the fact that these people have you tied into this destabilization, whether they want to admit it or not, or even whether or not they even care or not. So a very interesting correlation here where part of what's going to trigger this losing this material stability, this graciousness, it is probably going to be giving it straight to somebody. But this is showing that you giving it straight to somebody is very dignified. Because if they're willing to allow your personal life to go to ruin for their sake, then they aren't coming from a very righteous place. And they probably could get burned by a natural Page of Wands. So, very interesting. And this, like I said, once again, this Five of Swords energy is fanning up this Page of Wands energy. So, a very good shot that this is how you lose this graciousness from these other people. When you leave them behind and you reveal very authentically how you feel, you might be surprised to see that they just don't care. They never had your well-being in mind anyway. They had conditional graciousness. And that's part of probably why you can reach this Four of Swords energy, because as much as it is a loss in the short term, you're going to kind of see that you were right in the back of your head, in that these people were actually, they didn't really have your well-being in mind unconditionally. It was all conditional. And that's exactly why you're getting this bout of happiness from splitting off from whatever this is. So, very interesting energy. Very interesting. Let's continue. Plus, you got lucky that flipped out, so that wanted to be heard for sure. Page of Wands. Okay, so we have another card here, and we've got, Three of Pentacles in reverse. So, once again, even though it might feel really good for you to express yourself with this energy, even though it might feel really good for you to kind of cut your losses and take the path that you see, unfortunately, the universe works under cause and effect. And the price you're going to pay is you're going to lose this graciousness from whatever this was. And there is going to be some kind of, I hate to use the word failure, but something is not going to succeed as it should have. Some kind of material venture is going to fail, maybe because you're leaving it, maybe because you talk to these. So the thing that's kind of coming to mind now is that, maybe you're like a business entrepreneur, maybe you're a startup founder, and you're dealing with investor types, or it just could be a boss. You're dealing with a boss, and maybe you're trying to come up with something creative and it's just not working. Whatever it is, though, the price you pay for this happiness in the long run, the price you pay for rectifying these energies, the price you pay for choosing to go your own way, is there are going to be material consequences. Material consequences in the form of losing this graciousness, and material consequences in the form of whatever you were trying to achieve through this group dynamic, it is not going to come to fruition. So, sort of a dilemma for you here. Do you want to stay in this comfortable energy of this material abundance, but be making these sacrifices, or are you going to finally express yourself and make this choice? Understand what the short-term losses are, but also understand in the long term what this is showing that you will gain. So, pretty clear here for what that is. So let's get one more clarifier and see what it has to say. Oh, that was pretty clear. So final clarifier for reversed Six of Pentacles, Ace of Pentacles. Yeah, I mean, this is just saying that whatever you're stuck in, that is disrupting your material stability and disrupting your ability to stand on sure footing, leaving that behind is, yeah, it's going to have some short-term consequences, but there are some better opportunities after the fact, for sure. Ace of Pentacles, that is potential moving forward with material abundance. So finding a new group, finding a new way to stabilize yourself. The Ace of Pentacles, that's great energy to rectify this. And it's a great sign that even though you might lose these personal material stabilities, there is a new opportunity waiting in the wings for you. And of course there would be if you chose to cut this issue out of your experience, because it was conditional anyways. Yeah, you might lose what you've been relying on so far, but that opens up a new opportunity for you. And that's great. That is absolutely great to see. A great sign here. So I really hope you're one of the Capricorns that chooses to actually watch this up to this point, because not very many Capricorns seem to stick with the videos. Not very many watch, and then not very many stick with it to the end anyway, so you never know. Maybe there's one or two of you and this is exactly what you need to hear, but yeah, very, very interesting. So let me get the shuffle gone, and then we will move on to the last card, which is the Four of Swords in the upright, which once again, that's a great sign that you are going to be able to... It's a great sign that you're going to be able to move on. It's a great sign that you're not going to get stuck in negative emotions and negative law of attraction over this loss. It's a great sign that you have the capacity to stabilize your emotions and actually move on properly. Double on split. So very good. So I'm very curious now what this could be all about, but so it is sometimes. Alright, let's see what we can get here. So let's see. Something clear for Four of Swords. Something clear for Four of Swords, please. Something clearer, please. Alright, so first thing out, Four of Swords clarifier, Seven of Swords in reverse. So, Seven of Swords in the reverse, that is a sign of failure. It's a failure of indirectness. So, somebody was trying to take advantage of you, is kind of what a lot of this other energy is suggesting. And through your retrospection, you're going to kind of see through that. Through taking a step back and looking at things differently through this Four of Swords energy, you're going to be able to unravel this indirect way that you are being used, or this indirect way that you are being manipulated for other people's gain. And through this other energy here, the fact that you're already feeling like doing Five of Swords energy shows me that you kind of see that, but it doesn't become true until you finally take this leap to cut this out of your life. Once you do that, and once the pieces fall into place, you see, it finally like really clicks why this happened. And it definitely will be a learning experience for you. Because you don't want to be somebody's Seven of Swords in reverse, that's no good. You don't want to be the one getting taken from in this regard. So, very interesting. Alright, so two, there's actually three here. But these two came out pretty clear, so we're going to end it on these two. So your final two, for Four of Swords, we've got the Moon and the Five of Swords. You just nailed triple Five of Swords. You nailed Five of Swords at every single tier. It's the first time I've ever had that happen. So, very interesting. You are definitely going to understand why you moved on from this. So it's a great sign that your retrospection is going to... It's going to reveal a lot to you. You're going to definitely be enlightened as to why all of this happened this way. It's going to be very, very illuminating. The Moon is definitely a card about illusion. It has the power to sort of break down illusory nature, and that's a lot of what we're seeing here. Four of Swords, and you have triple Five of Swords, and you also have Five of Swords in the upright again, so you're looking at Five of Swords upright, Five of Swords upright, Five of Swords sideways, so that moves it to like 80-90% righteous Five of Swords energy. Dignified right Five of Swords. So to kind of cap this off, sort of what I was suggesting, you're going to see why. It's finally gonna kind of land home why this was happening to you. You're finally going to see why this was happening. And it's going to kind of bust through certain things that you weren't aware of. It's going to provide you with a different perspective on things. There was definitely some kind of illusion was holding you down. Some kind of indirectness was blocking your way. And you're going to be able to absorb that, and you're going to be able to understand that. And you're going to be able to really understand why you did this. And there's a lot of potential here for you doing that. So, I don't know why. Maybe you haven't done this yet. Maybe it's all been in the back of your mind, and it wasn't until this reading that you actually decided to take the leap. And when you take the leap and you see who was really on your side, when you actually see where the chips fall, when you take a step back to sort of stabilize your emotionality for the future, you're going to be very disillusioned on how you were being used by somebody. And you're going to sort of be illuminated as to how you were being, things were not in your favor in a very indirect sense. So I don't know what this is all about, but you've got to cut these people out that have conditional expectations of you. You have to cut these people out that won't be there when you decide to stand up for yourself. And the way you do that is you've got to finally make that stand. You've got to let things fall where they will. And you might need to lose some material things in the interim. But the emotional happiness that you gain from it and sort of rectifying your own stability is worth it. And it's not worth feeding these people. And you're probably going to see their true colors. And at the end of the day, from the beginning to the middle to the end of this, you are going to really come to understand. It's just going to make perfect sense why leaving these people behind was dignified. And why choosing to move on down this better path for yourself that you see allowed you to bust through a certain type of illusion that was allowing you to be used by people who only had conditional care for you in the first place. So, very interesting. Very, very interesting energy, Capricorn. This wound up being 33 minutes. I always wanted it to be like 15 minutes. It turned into 33 minutes, so my bad on that one. I hope that this helped you. I hope this resonates. If it did, once again, make sure that you like, share, subscribe this video. Make sure you send some donations my way if this helped you out. I would really appreciate it. It would really help me out. And this was very awesome. Triple Five of Swords, awesome. I loved to see that from a reading. And Five of Swords to every tier. Definitely a call for you to move on. To make sure that when you see a better path forward for you, you can't let the fact that other people aren't strong enough to follow you keep you from taking that path. And as a Capricorn, I think naturally, because I'm actually a Capricorn, I've got like 5 Capricorn planets and I'm a base Capricorn, so I can sympathize with a lot of this. I can sympathize with needing to make this decision. So I think I'm going to call the reading now. Thank you very much for being here, Capricorn. Take care, and good luck.